Oh my god, guys, we're not gonna play Hearthstone. Maybe until like mini set, I don't know. I have something else on my mind that I want to make like a card game-ish, but also simple enough so I can actually do it in a relatively small amount of time. You know where this is going. The four suits. But not exactly Balatro. Something a little bit more interesting. There's actually a lot of games that just like throw you against just like a blob of enemies, and you have to throw a bunch of damage at them. Slay the Spire is the most notorious, and there's just many more examples that I don't even care to know about. So let's say they have like attack and health points and have special abilities or whatever. And you use these cards primarily, which you will upgrade across the run. And technically they go from 2 to 10 points of damage or whatever they do. With abilities being able to upgrade your cards even beyond the 10. And technically, Jack, King, Queen, Ace, all of that could potentially be in the game. This is something I'm more excited to do than Pokia, because it seems like it's gonna be more wholesome, depending on what enemies we'll be fighting. But still, it depends on the tools, not on the ID itself, right? It's the tools that gonna cap me at some point, and I will have to stop development because as one person, I can only do so much as the tools allow me to. Otherwise, it becomes a fucking headache, and headache is not acceptable in my life. Pay me. Then you need to pay me to add more power to my tools. So I'm already like fleshing out in my mind of like what these things supposed to do. Except for these are just different ways to attack. And actually I don't know how to separate them properly. I definitely cannot make this into a board clear. This looks like an arrowhead, so technically it makes sense to do absolutely nothing. Like, what? Range attack? So I get no, like, strike back or something? No counterattack? I guess that makes some sense. Then this has to give me something as well. Maybe in close range you get, like, extra move. Because technically, can you only use 3 cards in one turn? Is Slay the Spire similar? 4. Or 3. Look at that. I'm gonna go with 3 as well. Yeah, you get an extra move if you kill an enemy. Let's put it this way. And this one can be in range so you don't get counterattack. Alright. Technically, hearts are pretty simple, but not really. There's the concept of broken hearts. But let me introduce the health points. Your deck is the health points. Yep. You can have 10 cards in your deck or something, and you can continue piling on as many cards as you want. But then your deck becomes shit. So you have to find the sweet spot, I guess. And obviously you're gonna get a bunch of trash cards at first until you find more good ones. But the most important way to upgrade is to gain abilities, right? Just grow that skill tree. That sweet skill tree. Make your choices in the paths. So, there's 4 branches to upgrade the hearts, the diamonds, and so on, right? Like when I'm putting this down, I'm like, it's cool. I've never seen that before. But why? This feels so generic. Why is it not in reality? So, uh, when you get attacked, you lose cards. The cards go into the graveyard, my friends. Yes. I mean, technically, like this. So, when you run out of cards, well, technically it's game over. What hearts do, they take from the graveyard. That amounts as how many hearts there is on a, what the value of hearts is. Alright? So you cast hearts again, that many cards back, but of course, we are not gonna loop, we're gonna break the hearts that got revived. The broken hearts, right? They technically do nothing. So if you draw the broken heart, you just have a broken heart in your hands. Well, technically don't do anything, but of course, with abilities, anything is possible. Now, the diamonds are probably the most lame of them all because it's weird one. It's supposed to dig into the graveyard and pick whatever you like. Well, potentially diamonds are just like a wild card and can gain some ridiculous abilities. I don't know. But yeah, primarily is just about digging and grabbing whichever card you want from the graveyard. So you have two card types that used for battle, and one card type for healing, and one card type for whatever. We can say combo, I guess. It can technically become a heart, because... But would it be broken the moment it lands on the graveyard? Maybe. But then it would be primarily just attack cards that it would revive. I don't know. As a wild card is quite important. Like, you can attach freezing abilities, and you can attach just like more ability-based stuff instead of just focusing on damage, but I guess it makes sense that way. Even though you can just convert these into spells. So instead of damage, they do something else with their values. Still remains a mystery if this is worth something special. I want it to feel special, right? Oh. I mean, if this is healing, this can be just shielding. Like, it's a very uh, common thing. And it has a shape of a shield, so... And we have to be creative with that statement, but... That's cool. Shield sounds pretty good. It can be wildcard, of course. Like, you can shield by freezing your opponent. That's technically shielding. And that's it. The most satisfaction comes from just harvesting abilities and picking the correct ones. Pretty much, maybe it's like a character building, because that's what I care about Hearthstone. That's what I care in Hearthstone, deck building. So, character building seems like the obvious thing, or a spin-off. I think Raren is doing something very similar. Like, he builds the deck with specific restrictions, which that's what makes it so fun, right? So, instead of restrictions, you kind of slowly unlock the entire tree as you progress. Then you can rebuild your character any way you want. Again, slowly claim more and more parts of the tree as you complete the, like, main series. And then you can go crazy and buff the enemies, basically. And see how far you can get with that. Or like maybe there's like an infinite ladder or something versus stronger and stronger enemies. But I would say like that there can be like modifiers that like interesting. Technically, Balatro did it very well, so I can't really imagine doing anything different than that. I think modifiers are just kind of like stake upon stake. I don't I don't really like that. I liked the way Gem Craft did it, so stakes have basically their multipliers. Not only Gemcraft did it, but also Minecraft. In April updates, they did this weird thing where you can make the game harder and you get multiplier bonuses for your XP or whatever. Now, I can't just give the player every single modifier. That's a little weird. Maybe a good idea is like, okay, I want 10x modifiers. And then you just roll random. You don't get to pick and choose, you can only roll random and accept the challenge. And maybe just like Wild Frost, you can only roll once a day? That's an interesting choice. So there's like a reason to come back every day with a new modifier. There should be something that forces you to play once a day. Something that just like, well, you're gonna enjoy it that day, maybe. I think once a day events are pretty cool. Alright, that's where it ends. For now, it seems. The only other question is then the world building, but the world building is a whole next level tool that I will never have. Never have. The most important reason to take time off is not because of this game concept. This game concept might not come to life in 2 weeks, in 2 months. I don't know. I don't know if I'll start working on it anytime soon. What I really want to bring to life is just spawned engine. That's all I give a fuck about. And it's kind of live here already. The problem is it's still not 60 FPS, and I feel bad when it's not fully optimized. When it's gonna be fully optimized, then I will still want to make a game in this environment as well. It's a fucking 3D environment that nobody have ever seen before. Because this is different than other 3D games. Alright? Or 3D engines that use polygons. This is a whole new level of rotating blocks. Like, these are not polygons. You wouldn't be able to do that with polygons. They're fully rotated. Fully weird. Just the ground level, but yeah. And can be animated, every single one of these blocks. But I don't know what I would do with it, besides some weird visual stuff. However, fundamentally, eventually, this will become the engine to make all my games. Maybe. Like, card games are two-dimensional, so it is weird to need a 3D space for a card game. I'm just saying. I'm not sure what's gonna happen here. Because these things don't really mix right now. 2D games kind of have to stay in a 2D dimensions, and 3D games have to do their thing as well. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen in the long run, because that's technically a conflict of interest. Yeah. Which happens all the time in my life. And there's no solution. I'm just spreading myself thin. Thank you guys for watching. I still don't have the name for this thing. You can name it, but I will probably have a better name in the end anyways. AI probably can give me a better name. You might have stumbled into really strong game concept. Wow. AI gives me compliments. Fucking deck bound. It's a curse to put bound into your game name, but it's kind of fascinating too. Can I make it about pirate software, bro? How would I do that? For some reason, I'm thinking this. Like I'm imagining actual like anime characters, a whole fucking anime style that we can generate with AI after all. Interesting. Oh, that's cool. That's so cool. I need to think, how do I get something like this more consistently? Okay, I guess. Enemy's probably just gonna be like sprites. Simple. Well, not simple because I will have an urge to animate that shit. But it is what it is. We're not gonna have that many types, maybe? Yeah, unfortunately, the asset creation takes the longest amount of time. It's scientifically proven that AI can help with that significantly. Anyways, thank you guys. There you go. That's a fancy suit right there. No! Yeah, the biggest question is like, why would I make so many games? But it's tools, bro. I have to build that shit. That shit is more important than ideas and games. Because that shit, if I have a lot of ideas and a lot of games that I want to make, wouldn't I want to please myself first? That's the unfortunate reality of not having friends. You just keep trying to improve the most fundamental pieces. Because you never know what the future actually holds, especially when the future is so unstable. See you guys next time.